Hi and welcome to On Europa League second leg playoffs. We have big favorites in this competition. Milan, for instance, thrashed Rennes, but still things are really open for Galatasaray, for Roma, for Marseille. So Dani and Alvaro, hello guys, are here to give you their tips. Let's enjoy this match day. We had a lot of goals on last Thursday. So I'm sure we are going to have fun in these games. Remember, as always, just support us. Press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And we had so many goals and some surprises that I didn't expect, to be honest. For instance, in Portugal, in Braga, we saw a lot of goals and a big surprise. The biggest surprise probably on Thursday was Karabakh beating Braga 4-2. I didn't give any options to Karabakh. For them to win was 7.6 in the first leg, but they did it, and at home they should be stronger. They show it even in the group stages. Remember that Leverkusen, for instance, only won 1-0 there. The tie, I guess, Dani, is almost over.
No, I don't think so.
And Karabakh to win is 3.2 again, and the odds are still very high for Karabakh.
I don't think it's over, although, of course, the Azeri are very favorite. By the way, they didn't play at the weekend. They are top of the table in Azerbaijan. There's a big clash with Sumajit, but yeah, Karabakh should come on top of that. But yeah, great performance away from home. They showed, they were a little bit reckless, I would say. Both teams were, but Karabakh took the chances a bit better. It could have finished 4-4 in the end. There were chances both ends. In Europe, Karabakh are very close to something historical. They never played in the round of 16 in European competition. Last year, they lost in the Conference League playoff against Gant on penalties, and that was the first time they went to a knockout tie. So really on the brink of history, we could say. Only 2 clean sheets at home in 7 matches, though, for Karabakh, only against Molde and Lincoln Red Imps from Gibraltar in the qualifying stages. So, it's been a difficult season, if you like, in Europe, but exciting because they have scored a lot of goals. They obviously are targeting this competition because they got 6 players in January, Karabakh, including Juninho. Well, not that one, but he scored against Braga nonetheless. And now Braga, they are 4th. They conceded 33 goals domestically. They are the 10th defense in Portugal. There are only 18 teams in Portugal. So things are not going that well. And I think you can take those numbers and translate them into Europe. Portuguese league is at this level, certainly higher than the Azerbaijan league. Lost 5-0 to Sporting away, lost 2-0 to Porto away, lost 3-2 to Benfica away. So all the away games, Braga, they have been losing. No clean sheet in the last 10 away matches. In fact, for for Braga, only 2 clean sheets in total the whole season at Panathinaikos and Rebordosa, which I ignore where they are, but probably is a lower team league in Portugal. 1-1 in the weekend, by the way. Braga, they only got one chance. Attack, go for it. There's no reason really to sit down and defend. Over 2.75 goals for me. 197, only 3 goals in the game. You win half a stake.
Well, the expected goals in the first leg was 2.55 versus 2.7.
Yeah.
So as Dani said, was a thriller completely, Alvaro.
Yeah, it was, and I think that if that was exactly the expected goals, the strikers and the players were up to the challenge, and they converted. I'm gonna water down slightly what Daniele said, and I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals instead, which pays 177. So, I'm more than happy to stay there. I think that the late goal from João Moutinho, penalty, probably kept this tie a little bit alive. I want to see how Braga reacts and how they do. It's not going to be easy for them because they are a team that concede a lot of goals this season. Then a few decisions by the manager haven't gone his way. For example, Abel Ruiz playing on the left hasn't convinced. Jaló is not having a good 2024. That's for sure. Álvaro Jaló, the potential Athletic Club Bilbao player next season. Ricardo Horta is out, and obviously this is a big casualty for Braga, but still, I think that there could be a chance here for them. They have to fight. They have to make sure that they attack a lot, and they have to look away to the defensive danger, and they have to probably take a lot of risks. So let's see how it goes. But for Karabakh, this is a great chance, as Daniel said, because they are looking for the first ever last 16 round in Europe. At home, they have been good this season. They have, and in Europe in general, they have been okay, but against teams of very few quality sometimes. Like, for example, the numbers explain it very well. They have lost only 2 of the last 26 games at home in Europe, but some of them are playoffs, some of them are qualifiers. So I wouldn't take too much of that into this game. But still, over 2.5 goals has to be my favorite here, because I know that Braga is going to attack a lot, and because in the reverse fixture we had 6 goals. Why not to think that we can have many this time?
Exactly. If they want to qualify, they have to give it a go and go for it. Next game is Freiburg-Lens. In the first leg, we didn't see goals in the Volaert. It was a goalless draw. To be honest, this broke my ACCA because I expected Lens to win, especially because they were good also at home in the Champions League. Freiburg conceding so many goals in the Bundesliga. Alvaro, 3. Again, they conceded at the weekend is 14 goals conceded in the last 5 games. That was a surprise to me, getting that clean sheet in France.
Yeah, that's why for the first time this season, the numbers of Freiburg in the Europa League in the group stage match their form in the Bundesliga. Because yes, 3-3 against Frankfurt was the kind of result that we could expect from Freiburg on the basis of what they did in autumn and in winter in the group stage, because Freiburg was very entertaining. They scored a lot of goals in the group stage, and this weekend in the Bundesliga they did it, but not against Lens. And for me, reading French sides is very difficult, because I expected something from Toulouse after winning the French Cup last year, and they've been rather sometimes disappointing, and they were definitely disappointing in the first leg of the playoffs. And with Lens, it's the same thing. I thought that they were going to win it, but they didn't. And then they drew in the weekend as well against Rennes, and I think that it's not a great moment for them. I do believe that in the Liga, and the best thing they can look for is qualifying for the Conference League, but right now they are 6th on the table. I don't know. I think that Freiburg is a little bit more vibrant, perhaps. Lens is a little bit more flat. And I'm going to back them because they are playing at home, and because this weekend they prove at least that they got a lot of quality up front, especially with players like Grifo and Gregoritsch, who were in the score sheet. So a draw no bet for Freiburg would be my favorite here, 167. Otherwise, the Asian handicap minus 0.25 would be very generous as well, doubling up your stake. But I prefer the draw no bet for them, which pays basically as much as Freiburg qualifying.
It's very difficult, I think, this time. Very balanced. Alvaro is back in the home team. Dani, do you agree with Alvaro?
I do. I kind of back the home team as well. My pick here is Asian handicap 0 for Freiburg in the first half, 184. So at least to win the first half. And I know Freiburg only won 3 of the last 10, and domestically they conceded 40 goals. They conceded 2 or more in 5 of the last 6. The only clean sheet was a Lens, so it's very, really unusual. Goal difference in Bundesliga is minus 11. So only 4 teams have done worse than them in Bundesliga. But when it comes to Europe, they've done better this time around. They scored against the 3 opponents in their group. And if you look at their home form this season, they only failed to score once in the 0-0 against Union Berlin. Only 1 defeat at home between October and now. So they are much stronger when they play in Europe. And I think they're going to approach this with a bigger confidence. They're not going to go down in the Bundesliga. They're going to be safe. They should be targeting this competition. Well, same goes for Lens, really, although they are pushing for a top 4 finish. Look, they already got 9 Bundesliga defeat, Freiburg. They need to turn the season around in Europe. When it comes to Lens, they're in better form. Only lost 2 of the last 12, 6 in the table. Decent defensive number as they were last season. They were the best defense in League One, but finished second to PSG only by 1 point. Now they're 2 points away from Monaco and Lille. But their scoring numbers are not great. They are the second worst attack in League One in the top 9. So they got Nice, who never scores, but then you got Reims and Lens. So really, the attacking numbers are not great. For an away side, to go there with such a poor away record, sort of such a poor attacking numbers is not great. They're unbeaten in 4 of the last 5 away from home. They only lost to Arsenal and Nice. I can't trust them really to go there and win this tie. It could be a draw, but the Asian handicap 0 in the first half for the home side looks good, 184.
I wouldn't be surprised if this tie goes to extra time as well. We were discussing the previous week if the French teams are going to be more competitive now that the league has 18 teams instead of 20. Is not the case for
really.
Lens failing to win at home, or for Rennes defeat in Milan 3-0. Leao was a knife against Rennes, scored the third one, but also created so many chances with Loftus-Cheek scoring a brace. Milan lost at the weekend, by the way, against Monza, Dani, but this Milan, we are saying it this season, they could have a great go in the Europa League. It's not easy to win and to play in Roazhon Park, but the job is done for the Rossoneri.
Partially done, 95% done, I would say. Minus 11 from Inter. Milan firmly in third place. They're not going to finish outside the top 4. Yes, they need to throw everything at this competition to save a season that so far has been okay, but there have been some low moments. And of course, the defeat 4-2 at Monza has been the lowest, one of the lowest moments of the season. Monza never scored 4 goals in the Serie A history. I know they only played a season and a half, but that tells a lot. And Milan were simply not at the races. Pioli made a few changes to the starting lineup. Okafor, Chukwueze, both really disappointing in the second half. Put Pulisic in, and even they were with 10 men, they still managed to equalize. Pulisic had a great game, so did Giroud. But that's the confirmation that Milan does the best when they got the backs against the wall. When they are comfortable and when they should control games, they struggle a lot. Look, away from home, they conceded 24 goals in the league. That's the same as Salernitana, who, by the way, are bottom of the table. And that was the first defeat in 6 games, but no clean sheet in 10 away games. 9 of them have been over 2.5 goals, and both to score. And also another warning sign for Milan. Sometimes when things don't go their way, they lose their mind a little bit. 6 red cards already in the league. Only Getafe 8 had more in the 5 top 5 leagues in Europe. But when it comes to the game against Rennes and the first leg, they were good. Actually, I was disappointed by Rennes. Rennes were coming on the back of 9 unbeaten games. They didn't lay a glove on Milan. They were very rigid on the 4-4-2 formation. I think Pioli was smarter with the position of Loftus-Cheek right behind the striker. They're the 3rd best attack in Ligue 1, Rennes. So you would expect a little bit more. 6 wins in a row in the competition, but only 1 clean sheet in 7. As I said, it's the same for Karabakh. They need a perfect night. They need, or for Braga, sorry, Karabakh, they need to go for it. And probably can push Milan 1 or 2 goals before maybe Milan start to mount a reaction. Both to score 187. I think probably both to score and over 2.5 goal is another good one.
The odds are basically the same for Rennes to win or for Milan to win. Perhaps Leao, Alvaro should get used to play in this kind of stadiums in France.
Oh yeah. What a player, by the way, and what a backheel pass. You know, in the build-up to his goal against Rennes the other day. Really beautiful. I really think that
when
Rafael
he wants
Leao,
to.
That's the thing. I was going to say that if he manages to polish a little bit his inconsistencies, he's one of the most exciting players you can watch in Europe right now. But I think that the tie is pretty much over, and the key for Milan and probably the game plan is going to be to make sure that Rennes doesn't score in the first half, doesn't just even hint that they can trigger a comeback. So that's why I'm going to go for a first half draw. I like it here, 218, but I like it even better, of course, a draw no bet for Milan in the first half, which pays around 190. I think that the first half is going to be the kind of half in which Milan uses very well their advantage. They speculate the right way, And, I don't expect Rennes getting anything from this game. I know that Milan conceded 4 in the weekend against Monza. At the same time, they are in a very strange position because they are not going to be title contenders. But at the same time, I don't think that they are going to drop to the 5th place. So they are a little bit in the middle of nowhere. They have to keep what they got. And when it comes to Rennes, they are dangerous for sure because they've got this scoring ability that Daniele has broken down. Terrier, the striker, is scoring many goals this season. He scored the brace in the weekend, so maybe he could score 1 in the second half in this game, but I wouldn't go for that. Rennes has recorded 5 straight wins at home, but we shouldn't forget that they have lost at home against PSG, Lyon, Monaco, and Villarreal, for example. So whenever they've got tough opposition at home, they tend to crumble a little bit, which is completely normal because this side at the end of the day, they are 6th or 7th in Ligue 1 right now. So I'm going to go for that one, really. Draw no bet for AC Milan in the first half. I think that's about right.
Well, Milan play Atalanta, by the way, an important game at the weekend. I mentioned the thing about Leao because he's the favorite to replace Mbappe at PSG. And the other French side is playing at home. Toulouse, Benfica. Toulouse, they had one chance and they converted at Daluz, but then Benfica scored from the penalty spot in the very last minute. It was Di Maria, the one who scored both penalties. Toulouse, probably, they were lucky to stay alive in this tie. Alvaro, they were second best in the game against Benfica. How do you see this one? Because Benfica tend to disappoint us this season.
Yeah, this is not over. I'm going to go for both teams to score as it happened in the reverse fixture at Daluz. Toulouse are having a difficult season. We all know about that. They haven't been able to build up anything great from the cup winning season they had last year. They won very comfortably the cup final, by the way. They are only 1 point away from relegation, and luckily for them, they beat Monaco 2-1 in the weekend with a very low possession game and still recording 7 shots on target. So they managed to get to the opponent's box with very few passes, and that is something that, of course, can hurt Benfica because sometimes they are a little bit inaccurate in the build-up, and if they lose the ball, well, Toulouse proved against Monaco that they can basically put themselves in your box very quickly. Benfica has been inconsistent this season. Not that everything is lost because they have a proper shot at the title again. They want to win back-to-back titles, and I think that they deserve to beat Toulouse at the end of the day. The other day at Daluz with that late penalty goal. I'm going to go for both teams to score. This is the kind of game in which I believe that Benfica won't defend the lead, because if they go and defend the lead, they are going to end up losing. They are going to attack or try to have the ball. So both teams to score 171.
Yeah, Benfica, usually they are an attacking mind team. Dani, how do you see this one?
Benfica winning this one because I think they were much better in the first leg. The scoreline doesn't reflect how well they played and how many chances they created. Toulouse found the goal at the Daluz out of nothing. Benfica had 27 shots, and Toulouse at home, they are pretty bad. They lost the last 3 in a row to Nantes, Lens, and Monaco. And the win in Monaco now at the weekend 2-1 was the first in the last 7 games since the 3-2 defeats against Liverpool. Did they deserve to beat Liverpool? There were a few controversial circumstances there as well. Only 2 clean sheets in the last 10, by the way, for Toulouse. Only 2 in the last 8 at home. So I can think about them conceding a goal. Benfica only lost 1 game domestically. They won comfortably the weekend against Vizela. And if you look at the number of their strikers, Di Maria 13 goals, João Mario 9, Rafa Silva 15, Cabral 9, Neres scored 2 goals at the weekend, that's 3 of the season, even a first goal for Marcos Leonardo that they signed from Santos. They should have enough to overcome Toulouse, scored 2 or more away from home in 5 of the last 6, unbeaten in 7 games far away from the Daluz Benfica. The last time they didn't score away from home was in October against Inter. I think refreshing the squad in January has helped them. I like the Benfica win here. Sorry for the Toulouse fans. 195.
Well, Toulouse, they are doing a really poor season. Let's see if they are able to stay in the Europa League. It's going to be very difficult. Benfica were best in the first leg, and they should keep also the advantage in the second leg. Next game, Roma. Feyenoord, this is a very good tie. We saw a very good football game in Holland. Roma played well, we have to say. They were proposing football with Mourinho. We didn't see that happening when they play away from home. They had good chances. At the end, they got a draw with Lukaku scoring with the shoulder, with the head. Who knows? But Dani, you told me you have a great stat to back Roma in this tie and in this game.
Let's make it clear from the start. Roma gonna win. Roma gonna qualify. Roma are way better than the Feyenoord. The stat is February 2017. Roma Villarreal 0-1. That's the last time Roma have lost a European knockout tie at the Olimpico. European knockout tie at the Olimpico. So don't include the finals. Don't include when they lost to Seville in a neutral ground in the COVID season. That's 16 European knockout ties unbeaten at home. In February 2017, De Rossi was still playing for Roma. Since then, 14 wins, 2 draws. Wins against the likes of Barcelona, Liverpool, Manchester United, Real Sociedad, Bayer Leverkusen. So the Olimpico in a European night, they are a force. No other Italian team has got such a strong record at home in a knockout tie because of the environment, because of the way they're fired up, and also because they've been helped, of course, by the experience and the know-how of Jose Mourinho. Now what De Rossi needs to do is to take the know-how, take the knowledge of how to manage tie games and take it to the next level. And we saw it at the Decoip a little bit. They were admirable for trying to impose themselves, playing on the attack. And if they continue playing on the front foot, they got much stronger team than Feyenoord. They paid an individual mistakes. They do make still a lot of individual mistakes, even against Frosinone in the 3-0 win in the first half. Frosinone were better, but then De Rossi, very intelligently, he's not afraid of making the tough calls. First of all, he seems to have got rid of Rui Patricio, the goalkeeper, and Svilar is playing. He's made two good saves against Feyenoord. Lukaku wasn't doing well in the first half against Frosinone. Out. In comes Pellegrini, and Roma improving in the second half. Dybala was given a total rest. It's going to be key. 18 of 26 Dybala goal with Roma have come at the Olimpico. So Dybala to score, Dybala to assist, always a good bet when they play at home. Smalling is back after an injury. Azmoun, Baldanzi from the start, good options there. Won 4 of the last 5 in Serie A Roma, as many as in the previous 11 games. Last season, they beat Feyenoord 4-1, and just to add another one, last win in Europe away from home for Feyenoord, April 2022. That's already 9 games without a win away from Europe. I know they were missing a few players in the first leg, but I don't think they are a team that can go away and win. They were beaten by Lazio this season as well at the Olimpico. The odds, Roma to score first, 180 for me.
Already lost at the Olympic, as you said, 1-0 in the Champions League. Roma much more attacking. Dybala also played great in the first leg. Lukaku so in the last weeks. Apart from that lucky goal against Feyenoord, how do you see, Alvaro?
Well, Lukaku, yes. Maybe he is not having his best season, but still 6 goals for him in the Europa League, Edu, and he's one of the top scorers of the competition. So I wouldn't write him out if he is on the pitch, especially against a side like Feyenoord that can concede goals here and there. But yeah, I agree with Daniele. I think that Roma is the favorite here, and I got a little ladder here, a ladder that goes from Roma to qualify, 161, to Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Roma, 187, or Roma to win, plain and simple, 220. I am more than happy to take all of them, but my conservative nature here points me in the direction of Roma to qualify, which is going to be, I think, my safe bet, but we'll see that later. But one thing that I really like about Roma right now is the fact that for the first time in 5 or 6 years, Paredes feels like he belongs to the team he's playing for. He's playing football really well, and at PSG, I think that he will look totally out for me in the sense that PSG wanted to play in a certain way, and Paredes wasn't up to that challenge. Maybe he would have been a little bit happier at PSG this year, playing under Luis Enrique, having more of a clear role in midfield. But for the last seasons, especially when Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe were playing there, it was too much work to do for him. At Juve, he wasn't phenomenal either. So, I would like to single out him, Paredes, and I could single out as well another player, Santiago Giménez, domestically, great player. Previous seasons in Europe, very good. But this season in Europe, in the Champions League, of course, he didn't play the first couple of games, but he hasn't made that difference, But, as I said before, I'm going to back Roma.
Paredes almost scored a beauty in the first leg. The keeper made a great save and then hit the crossbar. The ball, good one, this odds, 2.2 for Roma to win. Looks very good. Looks better than Marseille to win at home, to be honest. 1.7. Only Marseille to win at home. I wouldn't touch Gattuso's men. They failed.
Well, Gattuso is not going to be there. He's going to be sacked. The news has already been leaked, so probably they're going to get rid of him. So, without Gattuso.
Well, 7 winless games, lost to Brest at the weekend. If he's sacked, it would be the third manager of the season for Marcel. A very difficult season. We predicted Shakhtar to grab points. Marcel scored a late winner, but at the end, another header from Shakhtar got the equalizer. The bookies, as always, put Shakhtar as the big underdog here. Therefore, Alvaro, there are good options to back Shakhtar and find value there.
I'm backing them. Shakhtar Donetsk to qualify 3.0. Now I make this silence and I explain why. Because after playing against Olympique Marseille, I realized that they are definitely more committed, somehow more experienced, and less naive that Olympique Marseille is. And I am totally aware that there will be no better player on the pitch than Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, even if he's almost 35 years old. Aubameyang has scored 30 goals in the Europa League. He did everything up front against Shakhtar. He scored a goal. He gave an assist. But Olympique Marseille, with a new manager, or maybe without Gattuso, having had such a turbulent season, they lost in the weekend 1-0 to Brest. Whereas for Shakhtar Donetsk, the only bad news is what's happening in their country. But other than that, they have been doing a very good job this season again. In the Champions League, they were competitive. Before the game against the French side last Thursday, they had spent 64 days without playing competitive football, and they were competitive. And after the 63rd minute in that game, the game erupted. There were 4 goals. And even if Marseille scored first, Shakhtar managed to get themselves in the game again. It's true that a big mistake, individual mistake by Marseille, helped Shakhtar Donetsk, but they were there to take it. And at the end of the game, Aguinaldo got the equalizer too. And I think that they are a team that, footballistically or football speaking, they've got all the needed tactical knowledge and even the individual talent to probably trigger one of the biggest surprises of this playoff round. So I'm going to go for that. Shakhtar Donetsk to qualify 3.0, but I also have a conservative bet. Both teams to score 176. 4 goals in the first leg game.
Yeah, I can understand why you are backing Shakhtar. I think there are still no news, Dani, about Gattuso being sacked. Who knows who is going to be on the bench, but the numbers don't lie, and Marcel are terrible this season.
Only won 2 of the last 11. Only 1 clean sheet in the last 12. That was in Coupe de France against a 50-year opponent. 9th in Ligue 1. Lost to Brest, as we mentioned. First shot on target at the weekend in the 82nd minute. They look very, very predictable. They don't occupy the space very well. The players look a bit disjointed, far away from each of them. I know they are unbeaten at home in the league, in League One, only conceded 6 goals, but they've been so unreliable. And Shakhtar, I mean, what is impressive is that we always say, teams that have the winter break, then they get tired in the second half. Well, no, not really. Depends how they're prepared. Maybe this is a theory from 20, 25 years ago where there was less science in football. Physical preparation was a little bit worse. But now, no, they don't tire really. And if they train well and they prepare well like Shakhtar do, they can show their quality. The league will start next Monday for Shakhtar Donetsk. They're fourth with 2 games in hand, so all to play for. But, a team that beat Barcelona, did really well in 5 out of 6 games. They cannot be underestimated. The likes of Sikan, Matvienko, regulars for the Ukrainian national side. I checked the odds last night before the news of Gattuso, and the Shakhtar Asian handicap plus 0.75 was 196. I think it's going to go down. Take it as quickly as possible. That means if Shakhtar loses by 1 goal margin, you only lose half a stake. I think is a great odd.
Well, let's see what happens and who is going to be the next manager for Olympique Marseille. Probably we see goals also in this tie. We expected plenty of goals in Istanbul, and we had 5 goals between Galatasaray and Sparta Prague. 2 Reds, late goals. It was a thriller. It was a very entertaining game to watch. And perhaps, Dani, we should expect the same in the next fixture, in the second leg. Very, very open this tie, as we can see in the odds.
The first leg followed the script. 8 out of 11 Sparta European games have been over 2.5 goals and both to score. 9 out of 13 Galatasaray games this season in Europe, over 2.5 goals and both to score. So obviously it finished that way. Sparta, same goes with what we said about Shakhtar. Very competitive, even if they haven't played in a month and a half. They go quality. It's a team with the likes of Preciado, Ecuador international, Birmancevic, Kuchka. These are good international players with a lot of experience. And Sparta Prague is a scoring side. They won 2-1 at the weekend against Slovan Liberec. They only lost 1 domestic game, unbeaten at home in the last 6 European matches. It's going to be tough for Galatasaray to go there and get a win. A Galatasaray that in Europe is doing well, 4 wins, to draw, 1 defeat to Benfica, won 3-0 away at the weekend. But probably this game is more on the caliber of the Champions League qualifiers they played more than the Champions League group. In the Champions League qualifiers, Galatasaray played against Zalgiris, Olimpia Ljubljana, and Molde. They've all been over 2.5 goals away from home. Only 1 clean sheet for Galatasaray. Can you trust them to keep a clean sheet? I'm not sure. You can trust them to score. I don't think they're going to commit the same mistake that they did against Copenhagen in the last game of the group stage. They won the last 9, Galatasaray. Galatasaray to score the first, to open the scoring, 2:05. After all, they got 3 players really in form, Icardi, Ektorkoglu, and Mertens. 2:05 for Galatasaray to score first.
Well, Sparta Prague, they have a good home record in the Europa League, won 4 and draw 1 in the last 5, including the game against Betis, Alvaro.
Yeah, that game that changed the situation a lot, and probably their best win this season so far. Sparta Prague haven't lost at home in 90 minutes. This is something that we have to take into account. They've got a player like Haraslin who is scoring goals, and I think Galatasaray, they've got contradictory numbers when you compare their domestic run and their European run, because domestically they are involved in a nail-beating title race with Fenerbahce. They have suffered only 1 defeat in the league, and they have been very composed defensively, at least domestically, because they have conceded only 14 goals in the league, which is phenomenal, really. But then in Europe this season, they have conceded in every single game. And I was a little bit disappointed that they conceded 2 against Sparta Prague at home. I thought that, after the travails of the Champions League and the difficulties of the Champions League, they were going to rediscover some sort of defensive form at home in the Europa League, but they didn't. So that's why I'm going to go for both teams to score, because I think Galatasaray this season, for whatever the reason, in Europe they are conceding a lot, and Sparta Prague at home has been really good, and they've been scoring as well. So both teams to score, 161.
And perhaps we also see goals in the last tie. Sporting Young Boys, we also expected goals in Switzerland. Was a 3-1 victory for the Portuguese side. So the tie is almost over. They score plenty of goals, both in the Portuguese League and also in the Europa League. No options, I guess, Alvaro, for Young Boys, as we can see even in the odds. Sporting to win the second leg is only 1.3.
Yeah, well, let's not forget the fact that maybe Sporting Club Portugal doesn't push the accelerator to the limit this game, because they have pretty much done it. I don't know if Young Boys has the makings to inflict a remontada, to trigger a comeback, but I don't think so, really. Young Boys in the reverse fixture, they basically show all the naivety that we associate with the teams that rarely go far in European tournaments. I mean, they conceded an own goal. The goalkeeper did a very, very silly penalty on Edwards. They conceded the third goal when leaving, when they left someone totally unmarked. So, you know, I was very disappointed with Young Boys, and Sporting Club Portugal are having a very good season. In fact, I would like to point Gyökeres, the striker, him to score, you know, always will have a good value. The odds are not ready yet for that. Sporting Club Portugal, they are a more composed side. Last season, they beat Arsenal in this competition. They reached the quarterfinals. So I'm going to back them, really. Sporting Club Portugal to win the second half would be my bet. But of course, take this with a little bit of, with a pinch of salt, if you like, okay? It pays 165 right now. It will depend on how much commitment they show. But I do believe that they are much better than Young Boys. Still, Sporting to win the second half could be something that you should be considering in-game betting, depending on the spirit that the Sporting shows as the game starts.
Let's see if Young Boys, they have the quality to at least try and score first in Portugal in the José Albalade, Dani.
Which, by the way, Sporting were top of the league with one game in hand. Played tonight against Rennes. Imagine Maurizio Sarri or Mourinho. They'll be furious with the league, with the federation. They make us play,
Simeone.
Simeone, yes, Simeone. Me parece. You start saying me parece. You know, but probably Amorim has got these problems. But anyway, 12 wins in the last 13 for Sporting. Level with Benfica, as we mentioned. Best attack in Portugal. 58 goals conceded. So the tally might increase by the time you see the video. At home, they've been really good. 14 win, only lost one to Atalanta, who's probably one of the best informed team at the moment in Italy. But look at the score sheets they realized at home. They won one game 5-0, one game 5-1, 2 games 8-0. I know in the Cup of Portugal, but you still have to score 8. 1 4-0, 1 3-0 against Sturm Graz. So all big scores for Sporting that they go out and attack when they play at the Alvalade. Beat Porto 2-0, lost to Benfica earlier only with 2 goals in stoppage times. And, you know, last season they knocked out Arsenal, drew with Juve 1-1 at home, beat Spurs 2-0 in the Champions League. You know, they could be a dark horse in this competition. In Europa League, 4th for possession, 5 for passing accuracy. They done really well against Young Boys, although Young Boys had a goal disallowed when the score was still 1-2. Young Boys, a little bit disappointing also in the league. They only beat bottom of the table, Stade Lausanne 1-0 at the weekend. They did plenty of turnover, didn't work. They had to call Itten from the bench, who scored, lost the last 4 away games in Europe. They only got results against Red Star Belgrade and Maccabi Haifa last year. Young Boys didn't even make it through the Conference League playoff. High scoring game. Maybe Sporting takes the foot off the gas a little bit in the second half. Maybe a few changes. Both teams to score here, 175.
Yeah, it's not a great game, I think, to bet on.
Edu, yes, for you to see. Sporting Club Portugal to score over 1.5 goals in the game. It pays only 133.
Yeah, but nothing.
Yeah.
Very bad game to bet. Actually, it was better to bet on the first leg, and you got it right as well on seeing goals and Sporting getting a good result from Switzerland. This is it. Great 8 games to watch on Thursday. Dani, your safe bet?
My safe bet, as you probably understood from this video, is Roma to qualify, 161.
Alvaro?
How much abuse we're going to get in social media if that doesn't happen, because my safe bet is exactly the same one: Roma to qualify.
They'll destroy us. They'll say the biggest blunder ever. You work for the bookies.
But,
Look where I live. Look where I live. if I was working for the bookie, I'd be in Miami.
We are here to beat the bookies. This is
We are
what
here to beat the bookies.
media
We are here
helps
to
you
give you some tips and yes, and also have fun, which is very important. And have fun, which is very important in life. Don't you agree, Alvaro?
That's the important thing. By the way, that Alvaro got his Europa League ACCA correct in the first leg. Alvaro, I was wrong in my personal ACCA, to be honest, with the Lance Freiburg. But tell me, which one is yours? Perhaps I follow your advice.
Listen to your elders. Roma to qualify, Olympique Marseille, Shakhtar Donetsk, both teams to score, Sparta Prague, Galatasaray, both teams to score. Altogether 456.
I like it, I have to say. Dani, yours?
A conservative one. Very boring. Braga has an handicap 0. Freiburg has an handicap 0. Roma has an handicap 0. Total odds 479.
I'm not sure if I trust Braga anymore, to be honest. After what
You never
happened.
know. That's why it's an handicap 0. If they draw, you get your money back.
The first leg. Now, all my respect to Karabakh and the Azerbaijan League and everything around that country. Thank you, Dani. Thank you, Alvaro.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.